In Schrager's mock, he's got the Bears trading down with the Indianapolis Colts today. Peter Schrager literally talks to everyone. I don't know if you read the Schrager piece in The Athletic.
I actually read it today.
Yeah, it's a phenomenal piece.
Everybody.
Yeah, he literally talks to everyone. Brad Biggs has been doing this for 17,000 years too, and he's got the Bears trading down from 9. He had them going to 12. And both of them have them taking offensive tackles. Now, JC out of Alabama, and I forget who Britt Biggs had. Doesn't matter. Whatever.
Fatanu?
I think it was Fatanu. That sounds right. Okay. But the point is that I'm starting to believe if I had to bet my life on what the Bears are doing right now, I think I'm betting that they're going to trade back. Because those who are mocking and keep on throwing trade backs out there tend to have pretty good sources, and they don't just throw stuff out there. So, well, I mean, I'm just telling you, if it's just a bet. I don't. Obviously, I'm just following the tea leaves.
Schrager had Christian Gonzalez, the corner, last year being drafted by the Bears. So I mean, you're gonna. But I'm not saying he can't be right here. A lot of people had the Bears. When we got closer to the draft, that the Bears were going to take Darnell Wright, including our very own Adam Hogue, and so they hit on that. I know a lot of Bears Twitter is freaking out about JC Latham, but I'm not an offensive line expert tonight. Corey Wooten is going to be on After Dark at 7 p.m. Central. We're going to be talking about the top 5, offensive tackles available, and we'll get his perspective. Somebody, that knows a little more about the position and how to go against that than certainly anything I can bring to the table. But the one thing that does baffle me about just this whole offensive line talk is how far Olu Fashanu seems to fall. To me, I would. If you're going to trade back, take Olu Fashanu. I mean, he seems to have all the intangibles for this outside zone. He's athletic. He can move. He's a rare specimen for that position. He's huge and can move. And he kind of dances with his his edge rusher that's trying to get around him. Everybody talks about his hand size. I don't know. To me, I would take Olu Fashanu over some of these other guys, but that's just me personally.
Dude hasn't allowed a snap in his last 2 seasons playing college football. I mean, 686 of them. Pretty good.
Yeah,
and he's still a junior, right? I mean, so.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, most people had him as the number 1 offensive lineman coming into the draft. It was just recently that he started slipping. I don't really know why. And, you bring up Fashanu, I think it's important to mention that he played with Caleb Williams in high school. And if you want to make Caleb Williams as comfortable as possible, why not put a player there that he's comfortable with? He knows, yeah.
I mean, if you trade back and end up with Olu Fashanu, who for a large portion of the college football season seemed like he was going to be the number 1 left tackle taken. He's still young. He's younger, right? They're all young. But, to me, all these different names. But at the same time, like I said, they drafted Darnell Wright last year. I was saying I'd draft Jalen Carter when all of a sudden he fell to 9. I was like, draft Jalen Carter right now. I can't believe he fell to 9. They drafted Darnell Wright, and he was great. So everyone's freaking out about JC Latham or, an offensive tackle they don't want. Again, trust in polls. And if he decides to take an offensive tackle that I don't necessarily agree with, I'm sorry. I'm not going to sit here and act like I'm an offensive line expert like some of the people, on social media or whatever. I'm going to trust Ryan Poles' evaluation.
The one thing about JC Latham, which I thought was interesting in Peter Schrager's mock draft, is that he did play right tackle the last 2 seasons at Alabama. So he started 27 games at right tackle. He played left tackle in high school, went back. So that would mean what's happening at the left tackle position with Darnell Wright? I mean, this is a guy that obviously played right tackle for the Bears last season, that did have a little bit of experience at Tennessee playing 13 games at left tackle. So then you draft this guy. Are you moving him to a position he hasn't played since high school? Or are you moving Darnell? I don't know how it would work. I don't know how Ryan Poles would envision that working if you are drafting a guy like JC Latham. So it's just the thing. That's also a thing I think about. I don't want to put players in positions that they hadn't played recently. It doesn't mean that it's not going to work, but it is just something that you have to consider as you're projecting these guys to the next level.
I mean, it's fairly consensus that Joe Alt is the number 1 tackle in this draft.
Yes.
So you're drafting the 2nd or 3rd tackle. How much better is he than Braxton Jones? Is he 10% better? Is he 50% better? You got playmaking needs. You've got needs to get to the quarterback. And a lot of people are, and I'm not saying the Bears' offensive line is perfect, far from it. I get it. But I would much rather the Bears address.
Like I talked about earlier, they're not at a need place yet with their team. Like when we're talking about trading up for Marvin Harrison Jr., like they're still at a best player available.
I agree.
Gain as many assets as you can. So if you trade back a couple spots and you take an offensive tackle as your best player available, if it's at 13 or whatever, and now you've added more picks, like that's where they're at as a franchise right now, is they're still roster building. They're not at a place where they can take need.
Okay, I hear you on that one. If they trade out of 9 and they go back and a tackle is the best player on the board, I get it. Mm-hmm. If they take a tackle, I won't understand their board if they take one of the tackles, say, over Odunze and or Neighbors at 9.
Well, and you ask, well, how much better are they than Braxton Jones? Well, if they draft a tackle, that's your answer. That they don't necessarily believe in Braxton Jones' future as much as others do. Right. And I get he's graded well. I get he's been really great value for where they got him. We just don't know that answer as far as how Ryan Poles truly feels. Like just the same way as we were going through the season and we weren't 100% sure how he felt about Justin Fields. And then look when we got into the offseason, how that unfolded and what he was willing to let Justin Fields go for. So they can say whatever they want. We could have asked, Ryan Poles at the Combine, how do you feel about Braxton Jones? He's going to say how much he loves him, just like he said how much he loved Justin Fields. But if he ends up drafting a left tackle, that's your answer. And we've heard more than a few guys that talk about the position, Corey Wooten included, who's like, I'm not sold on Braxton Jones. So, again, I'd like to see Braxton Jones, how he would play with Caleb Williams, because I think part of last year's problems was the quarterback holding on to the ball too long, and if Caleb Williams can execute the offense more efficiently and get the ball out quicker, does that
helps your tackles,
help the tackle, which, I think it should. So maybe we get a more proper evaluation of him. But, again, it's a rookie quarterback, so we don't know. And then, again, lining up your tackle with your quarterback for the next 5 years, Darnell Wright for the next 4 years. That's because the other aspect is, just like with Justin Fields, you were going down a road where you eventually got to pay Braxton Jones. So that's the other equation that you have to figure out.
That's a good point.
We all silly like the mayor.